over the years, the various regions of the EPA, the 10 regions, have come under a lot of criticism. Autonomously operating as they do, often each region operating with its own individuality, contrary to others. I know in West Virginia that the compliance in West Virginia is out of Philadelphia can be entirely different than 1,000 feet across the river in Ohio that comes out of Chicago. And I saw that last week you were putting out a reorganization on that. Long overdue. GAO came out with something back in 2006, called for some reorganization. I know that the Senator Inhofe back in 2006 also called for that. So I'm curious to see a little bit. Thank you for, hopefully you're going to address it thoroughly. But there are a couple of things with it. What's your objective? And secondly, what are going to be the metrics that we can measure that we have now finally gotten control over the 10 agencies or 10 entities?
Certainly, thank you, Senator. First of all, our administration, when we were selected our regional administrators for the regions, we wanted to make sure that we selected people that had state experience. And I think that's helped us a lot in the regional management of all 10 regions, having 10 regional administrators with former state experience. But what our regional reorganization, and it takes effect on Monday the 15th, we are realigning the regional offices to mirror the headquarters. You know, probably the biggest change, 6 of the regions had enforcement divisions. 4 of the regions did not have enforcement divisions. They sprinkled their enforcement people throughout each of the program offices. 1 region didn't even have an air division in the title. So people had a problem trying to figure out who to go to from region to region if you needed a permit or if you needed help on a particular issue. So what we did was realigned all the regions to mirror the headquarters, and it's going to allow, for example, the enforcement office at EPA headquarters to work more closely with the enforcement divisions around the country to make sure there's continuity and to make sure that there is consistency between the regions. And we'll do that as well in the program offices.
I think the consistency is long overdue, so thank you for doing that. If 2 quick questions, back to the state revolving fund. I know you said that there's $80 billion now floating through the system, but the optics of cutting $300 million out this year is hard to promote. Can you explain that a little bit better about how cutting $300 million out of an appropriation for the state revolving fund actually is going to help?
Well, we are asking
more sewer and water lines built, or water lines built around the country.
We are asking for close to $2 billion in our budget request. It's not as high as what Congress appropriated for this year, but we're also asking for an increase in the WIFIA program from what we requested
The
last year.
SRF is you're cutting the SRF $300 million or so. I'm just trying to. I'm hung up on the optics.
I understand.
Because my issue, every time I go to a county commission or where they're asking for more money, finding they need to have water and the infrastructure, and I'm having a hard time to explain, but there's $80 billion flowing through the system, they're not getting it.
But at this point in time, we believe the WIFIA program offers some more innovative ways of funding some of these water projects, and we're very encouraged by the legislation in the EPA legislation from last year. So we're asking for more money for those 2 programs because we want to see if there's a different way of trying to solve the water problems for communities around the country.
Thank you, Minister. Maybe we need to have more of a conversation later about this. The third and last question has to do with a small refinery in West Virginia. It's the only refinery we have. It's Argonne, 25,000 gallons a day. Trying to compete with Marathon, that's 3 million gallons a day of preparation. But under the DOE and the EPA rate, you're treating them all the same. I'm troubled with that, and I'm hoping that you will look at that dealing with the RINs, how we might be able to take care of that. DOE has made some kind of recommendation to you, but it's up to you now with the EPA to make a determination of whether or not a 25,000 gallon boutique refinery should meet the same standards as a 3 million gallon refinery. Do you have a comment about that?
That is a very unique refinery. They specialize in lube oil instead of gasoline,
yes,
as we've discussed before. I'm happy to work with you and your office more on that, but it presents some different challenges as far as the small refinery exemption.
Let's find a
and other
solution to
refineries.
those challenges, okay? Thank you.
The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman.